This is different.
BOSS Radio. BOSS Radio. BOSS Radio. BOSS Radio.
Why? Julian Lennon.
This is the revolutionary hour.
Why? Only the elite gon' know what I'm speaking of. The rest of you motherfuckers just blind. It ain't my fault though.
All right. Court is now in session. The Honorable Uncle Sam presiding. United States versus Julian Lennon. You may be seated.
Hard times seems to call for desperate measures. Life is a struggle, can't fold under pressure. Bear with me for a moment, I'ma give you an example. Obama asked for a little more than he can handle. Wake up, smell the coffee. The government's a scandal. Pull the wool over your eyes with television and lies. Why they lie? Gift the gap, politics as usual. Open up the minds of my niggas on the app. Yellow tape crackers got the roadblock. Another black teen outlined in white chalk. It's not about color, people blind to the facts. If you really knew the laws, you would know how to react. I'm never scared to say the shit you niggas won't say. It's like we all headed for doomsday. Armageddon holding tight to my weapon. Recourse and remedy, this shit is killing me. Silk purses. Open your eyes, this ain't the designer version. Silk purses. Open your eyes, this ain't the designer version. Open up your mind, maybe then you'll see. Money makes the world go round, either your wolf or your sheep. Silk purses. Open your eyes, this ain't the designer version. No disrespect, I gotta put some things in check. It's not God's design to marry the same sex. To my daughter Jalen, baby, I truly love you. How do I explain to your mom's in love with a woman? Bobbing the Sam Cooke, it's been a long time coming. Do we really know the value of American money? We in debt to the same corporation that we under, blowing money overseas while our veterans hungry. God bless the souls in heaven, flight 9/11. Before we die, Aaron Russo answered that question. Sat down with Rockefeller, now they buying FEMA camps. Never sign a dotted line, your signature's a stamp. They say the worst is yet to come. Martial law in effect, I'm praying for Ferguson. If the people knew the truth, America's really cursed. Fuck the judge, I'm claiming my silk purse. Silk purses. Open your eyes, this ain't the designer version. Silk purses. Open your eyes, this ain't the designer version. Open up your mind, maybe then you'll see. Money makes the world go round, either your wolf or your sheep. Silk purses. Open your eyes, this ain't the designer version.
The defense attorney, Donna West, is trying to take down her credibility in this particular exchange now.
And that's because he described him as a creepy-ass cracker?
Yes.
So it was racial, but it was because Trayvon Martin put race in this.
No.
You don't think that's a racial comment?
No.
You don't think that creepy-ass cracker is a racial comment?
No.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government, run by the banking industry, run by the bankers. Right? There'll be no more cash. And this is given me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. He's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be. But there was going to be an event. And there's going to be this war on terror, of which there's no real enemy. And the whole thing is a giant hoax, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people. 9/11 was done by people in our own government and our own banking system to perpetuate the fear of the American people into subordinating themselves to anything the government wants them to do. That's what it's about. And to create this war, this endless war on terror.
Alrighty, everybody, this is your boy, Mr. E, Boss of the Southside. Boss is here live on Revolutionary Hour, here with my beautiful co-host.
Good morning, you guys. This is Erica Edwards. How are y'all?
All right, Miss C Squared in the building. Yeah, so we got a great show for y'all tonight. But before we actually get into that show, we want to ask y'all to go ahead and follow us, like us, subscribe to our channel. Also, share us to your family and your friends. That way they can be able to get in on this too, because we have a chat room that's available. Just hit that link and you'll definitely see it. We want to hear your thoughts as well, because everybody's voices, everybody's voice matters. And that's why we have a great show for you today, because it is all in that spirit that everybody's voice matters, because everybody's voice has to matter, especially when it comes towards double standards. We have our show today is about Sha'Carri Richardson speaking up upon Kamila Valieva. I hope I didn't butcher her name, or maybe it doesn't matter. But anyways, and just a little tidbit of what's going on.
Well, to me, I think it is a racial thing, because, as we all know, Sha'Carri Richardson, it's my opinion, and we're just putting it out there. She was a black athlete and getting ready to compete in the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, and she did pop positive for smoking weed, something that is not technically performance enhancing. She could not perform, yet we have
it definitely was a very good parallel to what's going on right now. So without further ado, we want to introduce y'all to Kamila Valieva and what's going on with her. And so here's a little clip from the news, and we'll be right back.
There won't be a ceremony. The IOC says they're going to keep her off the podium because of lingering doubts about her eligibility. Ruby Durham joins us right now. Ruby, a famous track star, says Valieva is getting a completely different treatment than what she faced last summer.
Yeah, good morning, Ben. Sha'Carri Richardson, the U.S. track and field sprinter that we all know from the Tokyo Games, is the one questioning this decision with Valieva and the positive drug test. That's because during the Tokyo Games, Sha'Carri tested positive for marijuana, and that knocked her out of competition. So she says there is a double standard here. If you look on her Twitter, she said, "The only difference I see is I'm a black young lady." Can we get a solid answer on the difference between her situation and mine's? My mother died, and I can't run, and was also favored to place top 3. A lot of different opinions on social media. One person saying Sha'Carri Richardson's blackness prevented her from receiving the grace that Russian athlete is receiving. There's just no other way to explain it. But then you have others who is saying Sha'Carri smoked a joint because her mom died. I guarantee that wasn't that mournful. And then they are saying one was for medication, the other one was for recreation. But then you have some people saying, hey, how do the other skaters feel about this decision? They should all refuse to skate unless she pulls out. So again, a lot of mixed emotions about this situation, but more so, Ben, I will say it looks like a lot of people are seeing the difference here.
Well, also keep in mind there's historical context here with Russia. I mean, Russia itself is not even allowed to compete because of doping scandals. So
it'll be interesting to see how all of that plays out. Ruby, thank you.
BOSS Radio, Southside Bosses, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the site or the radio station, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. This site does not endorse anything as the truth. That you will have to judge for yourself. But we try to speak the truth on the owner's behalf and reserve the right to question the supposed truth. In this time of misinformation, government-controlled media, and government corruption, it is sometimes hard to get to the truth, but we must try. It is not our intention to libel, discriminate, make hate, or annoy anyone. We believe that it is our constitutional First Amendment right of free speech to voice our opinions and our duty to the Constitution and country to expose the truth. This site takes no responsibility for the opinions of others and the postings of comments in chat rooms or forum posts. So as you see right there, we now have another incident in which an Olympic participant, Olympics skater, actually fell victim to a failed drug test. Now, just to be straight up, the failed drug test was more taking around December 25th, 2021, right on Christmas Day. The results didn't come back until February 7th, so that was well enough time before she actually gets to compete, which is tonight. She performs tonight in the Tuesday round, so she could be ready for the Thursday semifinals, I believe. But she failed the test for I'm saying this wrong. I'm not a doctor, okay? Trimetazidine. That's what it is. Trimetazidine. And the reason why they say she failed for that is because it is technically a performing enhancement medication. What it does is it helps deliver the blood to the heart and stamina, to increase your stamina. So now, in her defense, it is her grandfather's medication. At least this is what her defense lawyers are coming with. That the fact that her grandfather takes this medication, he drives to practice on a regular. So it just so happens that maybe she came in contact with it, and that's why trace amounts was found in her system. And so there is minor discrepancies between the differences between Sha'Carri Richardson's story and this Kamila Valieva story. But what everybody, as you heard at the end of that clip, everybody now is saying everybody has their own opinion. So we have to pretty much just break it down. What could this all be about? Let's start off with what is the differences? What are the major differences?
Well, the major difference is, one, of course, race, color, right. Melanated skin. Two, you also have to look at, one is track, one is ice skating, but it's also a team competition. It's not just going to affect one person. It's going to affect two people on that part. But the big problem is, she was found guilty. Why is she still able to compete?
Right.
Did she put an appeal in? Did she immediately appeal that? Did they even say that? They never even said that they were not going to allow her. So there is no appeal to put in.
Right.
With Sha'Carri, they immediately said, you're not competing.
Right.
Sha'Carri could have put the appeal in, however she chose not to, and like she said, she owned up to it. Yes, she smoked the joint because she was grieving the loss of her mother.
Whether you believe that or not.
Right. Whether you believe it or not, that's her opinion. Whether she was always a smoker, we don't know. We don't really care. We're just looking at the facts. We're looking at what she said.
Right. And you brought up a good point earlier when we was talking about how the one drug is an actual performing enhancing
and
drug,
the other one is not.
And the one who got punished was the one that wasn't a performing enhancing drug. If anything, I'm not getting up and going to run a mile after I smoked a blunt. That is something I do after I run the mile. So I don't see how marijuana could be classified with that, except for the fact that maybe because most countries have it banned because of political reasons, But it still begs to ask the question: what is the difference between? I mean, Sha'Carri went out there herself and asked, can somebody give me a solid explanation the difference between me and her? And even though we covered the race is we'll cover race last. I want to cover that last. Y'all know how I do on Revolutionary Hour when it comes to race, so we're gonna cover that last. But let's dissect the second part we were talking about that you brought up. The second opinion about the different Olympic segments, sports she's in. One is a track and field, the other one is a Olympic skater. Let's say, how different would that be? What kind of difference would that make? Because one is a Winter Olympic. And
to me, it doesn't matter whether it's Winter Olympics, spring, summer, or fall. It's still the Olympics, and each rule should still follow. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Right.
If it's no drugs permitted whatsoever except for these listed drugs that are eligible, quote unquote, to be had, then anything else, no, you should not compete.
Right.
Point blank, period. And in this case, even if she has a lawyer, she was found out to have pop positive, and they still had time for the investigation to start and finish. They still had time for her to not compete like they did with Sha'Carri. They were so quick to say, no, you can't compete. And they still had enough time to get their alternate to come in and skate. Yes, that means that her partner either skates with someone else, which would truly be difficult because they may not know that person they skate with, or if we're supposed to be a team, what I do is going to affect you as well. And unfortunately, even though you tested negative, just I tested positive, we're a team, that means we both can't compete.
Now, I just came across something in another article that may put a little spin on this. And this is what I mean by race is not our construct, so we cannot use it in any form or fashion for our benefit. We think we do, but we really don't. And we'll discuss a little bit more about that later. But this is a Russian 15-year-old girl who was skating not for Russia because Russia isn't allowed to be in the Olympics, but the Russian Olympic Committee can. Sounds like a rebranding to me.
Jansen and Jansen.
Right.
Same thing, just moved about.
Exactly. So she's allowed. What happened is that when they took this test from her in December 25th, 2021, it turns out that you were right. They've been known about this because she had a brief suspension in between the Russian national championships, which she was still allowed to perform in. In between that time, which was in December, to February 7th, was her suspension. That's okay. When she was right in time for the Winter Olympics. They gave her a brief suspension.
Right. So there you go. There it is.
In between.
So she did get punished because that's what they're going to say.
Yes.
She was suspended. Knowing good and well, there probably wasn't any competitions between December when she, tested positive until February 7th. And it just so happens that they gave her enough time from the suspension being over with February 7th to her competing time, February 14th. So during all this time, she's still able to practice.
And guess what? This is where race is thrown out the window because now it's a nationality thing because she performed in the Russian national championships. We have nothing to do with their national championships. We can't go over there and say, hey, you knew she was dirty. Why you still let her perform? That ain't none of our business. So this is what I mean by race cannot benefit us. This is where we thought it could. I even thought I came on with this podcast thinking, oh man, we got them now.
We got them, but
standard. And look at that. These fools, they created the race construct. They created the rules to it. And as you see, they used it to benefit themselves. And you cannot use it to benefit yourself. You cannot. When you go to the Olympics, you do not go representing Black America. You go representing the United States. The same United States that helped create this race construct that keeps you into where you can't go internationally and represent who you really are because you really don't know who you are because you are still playing up under their racial construct, their racial rules, their racial games. And they show you every time how they are going to utilize it, and you can't, and you are always going to lose out. So, yes.
Well, for some of those that do, they have like dual citizenship, or it's like if one of their parents was, because I know there are some athletes that represent their Americans, but they represent Ghana or they represent Tonga or they represent other countries because either they were born there or their parents were from there.
Right. But they don't represent Black America.
No, is there really a Black America?
There's no Black America. No. There's no Blackanese. There is no
black land. There is none of that. So you can't really represent that as anything because now anybody can be black. Guess what?
Right.
People who come from Africa over here, South Africa over here, are deemed black. Even Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
She's socially white, politically black. They just don't tell you that because they know that'll mess up your little mind. But as we see right here, and again, I still can scream some kind of foul play in this, but at the same time, they followed the rules that they created in order to make sure that we cannot participate in it.
Right.
Once you realize that, maybe you would want to change something instead of participating. Because I'm going to tell you like this, these people get in, something was brought to my attention. We had, you know what, I want y'all to go through and listen to our past, the past 2 weeks on our podcast. We had a guest on called, named Curtis Reed. Very intelligent Albion, very intelligent hybrid European. And he brought up some real good points about AOC, the congresswoman. She was strong progressive. Lately, by reading her tweets, she's more becoming a Nancy Pelosi yes woman. And that is very indicative of once you get into the cage with the lion.
How you're going to conform to the lion.
Exactly. So getting into this is my personal opinion. Getting into bed with the enemy is not how you change the enemy's mind. We think we've been trying that for a few hundred years now. And I think we need to stop trying to do that because they didn't make the rules for us. So if we just annex from whatever they got going and
also politics or something, it's a deeper rabbit hole that you have to go deep down in, and you have to be sure that you're going to be able to do it. So many people have thought that they can get in there and change things, and then that's where you have the JFKs, the RFKs, people that get in there and they want to change it for good. Next thing you know, they're assassinated.
Yes.
The Princess Dianas.
Yes.
Even in there, everybody got some issues, but we're talking about over here. But Princess Diana was one that I'm thinking about as well. She told the world. She told the world, and look how she died.
Yeah, because she told the world.
And now her son, Harry, who married Meghan Markle, that's why he's not Prince Harry and she's not the Duchess of Sussex anymore.
You know what?
They renounced their airness because of, the racism is real. The treatment on melanated skin versus non-melanated is real.
Right.
Right is right, wrong is wrong, no matter where you are.
And this is where we was going, like later on this evening, I'm going to be doing the podcast. I hope y'all all tune in on that. 9 p.m. Eastern Central Standard Time. So make sure y'all tune in. It's going to be the same place, Revolutionary Hour. But we're going to be talking about, because you've heard of Marcus Garvey. You've heard of Elijah Muhammad. You heard of Malcolm X. You heard of Martin Luther King. You heard of Ralph David Abernathy. You heard of all these other black, and Reverend Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, because they all reverends now, They just, all of them. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. Anyways, but you never really hear about somebody who told you to get out of the United States system. You never heard of this one man named Noble Drew Ali. He told you how to be able to do it to where you can be able to. If you're going to be in the system, you can make them abide by their rules because you take the race construct out of it, and when you do that, you can actually start to see some kind of benefits, but for some reason he's not talked about. I guess because in black history, they want to reinforce the notion of you're black. Think about it. One of our reverends, this is the real truth of how we got 28 days, because everybody think we got the shortest month because the government stuck us with the shortest month. That is far from the truth. What happened was that it was a reverend down south who started Black History Week in the beginning of February. The president of the United States said, that sounds like a good idea. Here, have the whole month. Look it up. You'll find out that's the actual truth. But it was a reason why that president wanted us to have that whole month. Because if he would have started it in April, guess what? We would have 30 days. He would have started in July. We would have 31 days. But he started it in February. There was no creation of black history. There was no malfeasance in it. But the fact that to establish something to reinforce the stigma once a year of you're black because you don't know where you're from and you refuse to find out, so you think you create a black culture. But if you trace almost every aspect of your black culture back, you'll see it started in slavery. So that continues the viewpoint that you're still a slave. Act like a slave because you are one. So definitely, we actually got to think about what's going on. Oh, and there's also other things that's going on in there because even though back to the Kamila Valieva, even though she is, we found out that she was suspended or whatnot, there are still other skaters out there that's skating in the Winter Olympics. This is what I wanted to bring up earlier about the Winter Olympics. There's still skaters in the Winter Olympics that's still saying, hey, no, what y'all doing? That ain't right. Why y'all letting her perform? So if other people like Zhu Yi is a skater that's bringing up this notion that, you know, she should be suspended. There's another one, the Sweden's Josephine Tadiard. He thinks it's sad, but here we are. You know, all these people are standing up. What happened to representation?
Well, the thing is, they're standing up, but what can be done? I mean, isn't that like double jeopardy? You've already punished me, even though there was nothing for me to skate and compete in. Mm-hmm. But you did suspend me for the 30 or 90 days or however long my suspension was. You did suspend me for that time, and I did take it. Now I'm clean from drugs, and I'm also clean from COVID. So why am I not able to compete a week after my suspension?
That actually brings up a good question, though. Russia suspended her.
Yes.
Not the Olympic Committee.
And that's why the Olympic Committee is still investigating.
Because they're probably trying to find out if she is still participating in this drug. And that is something that actually needs to be brought up. That's something that definitely needs to be brought up, because Russia doesn't represent the Olympic Committee. I mean, because Russia ain't even in the Olympics.
Right, but the ROC is.
See, and that's like a branding.
So
Jansen and Jansen all over again.
Right. So that's why the actual Olympic Committee needs to really take a look at that. You know, because the Olympics it's not just your country, it's around the world country. And if news is being brought to again, it can be a political scene. You know, the Olympic Committee is going to have to make a move, and who really wants to move against Russia?
Ooh, I didn't know that she already helped them win a gold medal.
Yes, she already helped them as a team. She helped them win the gold medal.
Yeah, that's wow.
And so if you take her from that
hurts that whole team.
That hurts the whole team. Exactly.
That takes away from everything they did.
Mm-hmm.
So as a teammate,
I'm fighting you.
You got to get the hell off my. You ain't skating.
You not skating with me.
You ain't skating. I ain't skating, or she ain't skating.
Look, both of y'all ain't gonna be skating.
Right.
And see, I would be hot as fish grease, because that's the predicament that she put her teammate in.
Yes.
And it's not like the track and field where you have 4 and 5 runners or something like that, four-man team. It's a 2-man team.
Right.
So I'm sitting out here and I'm doing drugs or I'm doing this, and you're sitting here doing everything by the book. I get popped. That means we get popped.
Yep. And see, this is the difference between cultures, because this girl does not care. Obviously, she sees that she's putting her team at risk, but yet she is not stepping aside like
Sha'Carri.
No. The gymnast, our famous gymnast. I'm so sorry.
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles knew she was going through some mental, and she couldn't focus on helping them win a goal. So what she do?
She stepped aside.
And not only did she step aside and helped her team win gold, but she also helped other gymnasts who never would have made gold because of her. She let them go make gold. That is a team player. That is something that was embedded in her ancestors before slavery.
And she got ridiculed so hard for that. But people don't even realize on exactly what she did. It's just like you just said. She opened the door up for so many other gymnasts. Not even just for American gymnasts.
Right.
But for over the world, the ones that was competing with her, for other gymnasts to get in there. But when she did get back in and felt that she was able to compete, she took what? Did she take third?
Bronze?
Yeah.
She took a bronze.
She took a bronze.
She went.
So she still competed.
And if you watch, she did a beautiful job, but it was not, you could tell she wasn't trying.
Right.
She was out there just performing.
She was not the normal Simone.
Because she did not, she wasn't trying to outshine her peers. She was trying to make I got all these gold medals sitting on my wall. What I need with another one? I ain't got no bronze. I need a bronze. That's what I need. I need a bronze for my collection.
She bowed out gracefully, but it was all about her.
Exactly.
Her choice and her mental health.
Exactly. And y'all tried to make her mental health worse. If that girl wasn't as strong as she was and let y'all talk and listen to everything y'all said, then of course she would be in a way worse state right now. So shout out to Simone Biles. She is going to make a wonderful leader one day. I hope she runs for politician if that's her goals in life. Maybe she can do something in a local level. Don't go national. Don't go federal. They're gonna turn you into a lion.
Eat you alive,
or eat
like
you alive.
AOC.
Exactly. So, but you know that's one thing that I can show when it comes to culture, and you can see that's not a race thing. I'm pretty sure there's other Albions and other hybrid Europeans and other hybrid Asiatics that do the same thing. You know, they actually care about society. They care about mankind. They are not villainous. Like, you know, Kamila. I'm sorry, that's a villainous move. You putting your team at risk. You don't give a fuck about them. I couldn't trust you. I couldn't trust you. I don't even want you in my. Don't even come knocking on my door. So I'm like, hey, I'm a famous Olympic. Get your ass off my.
Right.
You're untrustworthy, bitch. You.
You're untrustworthy.
I ain't playing them games over here. But that just goes to show you a lot about how we have to change the way we are looking at things and stop expecting us to be, you know, something that is not. It's nothing. It's not nothing that we can do about this. It's get out of the system that we are in. The system is fucked up. You can't fix it. It's not even fucked up. It is a perfectly running machine. This is what's fucking it up is y'all trying to change it. I'm sorry. The machine was built for a purpose and it was running just fine until you said that no, the machine is broken, and it wasn't. There was no lock and tag on it. It was not tagged out. What you were supposed to do was get out. You were supposed to quit the factory. Instead, you tried to become president of the factory. And look what happened. Well, that's just, you know, goes to show you a lot. And I mean, so
it is. I mean, that's just. It's always a lot more than on the surface. You know, always do your research. Always look. Don't let the obvious or what you think is the obvious be your main focus. Because a lot of people are obviously saying, oh, it's a race issue, it's a race issue. And you already know me. I'm quick. If it's a race issue, I'm quick to say it's a race issue. But after doing a little bit more research and, you know, game recognized game. They just beat you at the game.
Right.
Like I said, you know, it could have been a race issue. It could have been something, you know, with the whole black and white, melanated, not melanated, or, you know, the different sport or whatever. Oh, yeah. But the thing is, they both got suspended. Mm-hmm. They both were immediately, you know, there were no medals for her to be stripped from.
Right.
Her country did it. Sha'Carri's country did it the way that, you know, they deemed fit.
Right.
And Russia did it the way they deemed fit.
Right.
And now that this child is in the Olympics under the ROC, mm-hmm. which is not Russia, I mean, hey, it's up for the Olympic Committee to decide that.
Exactly. And one thing that if you want to change something, if you really don't want this to happen again to another Sha'Carri Richardson, then how about you get on your president of your United States government and tell him to legalize fucking weed, and then tell him to get on the International Olympic Committee and tell their asses to, hey, weed is not a performing enhancement drug.
Natural weed. Not weed that's laced with everything else. You have to look at,
of course,
because of course once they legalize it, because it is getting legalized state by state by state, with who's gonna get their hands in which pocket, and they're trying to deem on how you can grow it, how much you can grow, what needs to go inside. They're putting all these stipulations on it. So once it's legalized and everything is good, yes, it does need to go before the Olympics.
Right.
It also and it's not just the Olympics, because then that's going to open it up for schools, junior highs, high schools, colleges. It's going to open it up across the board.
Hopefully, employment. I can understand how some jobs you just do not want to be high on. I'm not going to be 40,000 feet in the air trying to fucking weld a fucking satellite together and shit, and I'm high. I'm already high.
You know what? You'll be surprised.
I'm high enough. I don't need to get any more high. I'll get back high when I get back down.
But you'll be surprised because once it's legalized, you can't say anything. So when you have that pilot that's driving your plane high as a kite, or when you have that surgeon that's doing open heart surgery.
See, that's what I'm saying. Policies for the employment, like that's.
Oh, so you're going to discriminate against certain jobs?
No, that's just how it is. If you cannot perform, they should have the certain psychological tests, which they already have done. That says that you cannot really perform. And plus, if you are a professional, why would you risk it?
Athletes are professionals.
Well, athletes also don't have to worry about underperforming up under weed. It's not an enhancement performance, but it also does not have to be something that what it does is it enhances what you already do. That's all. It focuses your mind. It's a psychedelic. It doesn't do anything to your body. What it does is it just, I ain't gonna say it messes with your mind, but some people it mess with their mind.
Exactly. Some people it messes with their mind. It messes with their bodies, causing twitches.
No, that's the twitches is still the mental. It's all.
So it's all mental.
That's all mental. It does not really do anything to your body. Everything. It's a psychedelic. That's all it does. And then they say when you smoke it, you can catch cancer. No, you can't catch cancer if you're smoking just weed. If you're smoking papers, if you smoke papers if you smoke enough of them, because it's just like cigarettes. Tobacco, like the blunts. Mm-hmm. That's what giving you cancer. It's not necessarily.
So then, how can you smoke weed without it? Anyway, that's a whole different story.
We'll do that on top of they said nothing. Again, I can answer that one. Without causing cancers, we have plenty of bones. We have plenty of pipes.
The bones, the pipes, the waters. So
hookahs. No, originally that's what the real Indians used to smoke out of those the hookahs. So it's just, tobacco came later on, and if I'm not mistaken, it came out of the what is now called the United States, North America. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was South America too. It came out in the Americas, but that's just something I want y'all to think about, man. And tonight we're going to talk more about why race has been used against you as we introduce you, because I know you probably haven't heard of him. Noble Drew Ali. He is the one that started the Moore Science Temple of America and the National Divine Movement for Moors, and he's the one that reminds you of who you were before you were a black crayon that was walking around with no rights, just privileges. So y'all make sure y'all tune in tonight for that. It's going down at 9 p.m. East Central Standard Time. And we also want you to like, subscribe, and follow us at all your favorite streaming service. We're on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, and more. So make sure y'all go ahead and like us and follow us and share us to all your family and friends, because they need this information if you actually want to stop complaining about the things that you're complaining about. Now, if you're just ready to complain about them, listen anyways, because I give you something else to complain about. But I got to give you, you'll be so upset about, you won't have you will be finding things to the end of your time with this avenue, because they are giving this right there in front of you. So just take it. Already. So now we're going to go ahead and end it. We got my beautiful co-host, Miss E Square, Erica Edwards. She had to step off for a minute, but she wanted me to tell y'all goodbye. And this is your boy, Mr. E, boss of the Southside Bosses, here on Revolutionary Hour, listening to Mr. E on everything off of my last album, Revolutionary Rapper. You already know what it is, baby.
DOSS Radio. Just gonna kill us all, and we weren't gonna say nothing about that shit. The recruits. Do this for my people, and that's on everything.
When they say more money, more problems, I'm thinking I don't got an option. I'm working on facing my conscience. I'm taking no source with no loss. I'm finding some peace when the meds came. I'm finding some peace when the chairs came. I'm a provider, that's the best thing. I do it for y'all, that's on everything. Yeah, do it for y'all, that's on everything. I stay on my job, that's on everything. Give it to them hard, that's on everything. I stack all these rats, that's on everything. I puff on these packs, that's on everything. Ain't no going back, that's on everything. We all staying strapped, that's on everything.
Forced into a situation for obliteration. Stuck us in the projects and started us racing. Can't set up the game like we bout to hit a base. Stacking money, cause we have to show them what they really facing. Invest in a motherfucking vest. We about to go to war when it's never gonna rest. I know there's no peace in the streets of America, land where the dark people stress. Oh yeah, it's one of them things at the time that we hang. I can see all the pain in the eyes of the brain. They infuse my fire like a kerosene blaze. When I learn about you averaging the workers trying to slave. If an ancestor did that, then I can do this. Definitely prove this. Niggas on his own shit. Taking my heritage, I'm strapped with that metal piece. So your motherfucker better cease and desist. Confidence style miss with a little wild home wing to a diamond by carpet style. Tries have a coke and a smile. If you not with the movement, I bleed for my people every inch, every mile. Fly away, you don't like what I say. I'm coming from mine and you all gonna pay. I can see you afraid. What is the niggas that a mule that you promised yesterday? Okay, I do it for my people, not equal, we original. Kinda makes sense when you motherfuckers copy style. I can break it down like a motherfucking pound. Never round if you really wanna get it right now. I do it for my people, not equal, we original. Kinda makes sense when you motherfuckers copy style. I can break it down like a motherfucking pound. I'm around if you really wanna get it right now.
Yeah. When they say more money, more problems, I'm thinking I don't got an option. I'm working on facing my conscience. I'm taking no source with no loss. I'm finding some peace when the meds came. I'm finding some peace when the chains came. I'm a provider, that's the best thing. I do it for y'all, that's on everything. Yeah, do it for y'all, that's on everything. I stay on my job, that's on everything. Give it to them hard, that's on everything. I stack all these rats, that's on everything. I puff on these packs, that's on everything. Ain't no going back, that's on everything. We all staying strapped, that's on everything.
I ain't watching treated to kill it, I say it's all. They can't face it like a man, cause the best is too damn soft. Call a nigga in the cross, they master what's called boss. Like you bust up at the job, the cycle is not long. Not to mention prison, not living, they kill you so long. Can you see the plan, killing native people with a call? It's awful, but no one is left staring and all. We so decent, a time children on, kill them all. This world crumbling like Mary Jane, just to keep my focus clear while I'm driving the left lane. The wood switch lane, but it's so much damn pain. In the past, raining on the brain is if a real pain. It's ain't my only excuse, this is how they made me. There's 6 people in my head and they all hate me. But I'm a soldier, you motherfuckers can't take me. On everything I love is the truth, you can't break me. The souls of my ancestors, listen to my spirit. If you hear it, it's enough to make you care my fucking spirit. My life is like a bus and I'ma be the one to steer it. I'm fighting for my people on everything till we clear it. Watch your focus and you know we fed up. You really gonna hate us when we get our bread up. Set up black nation, I'm getting damn patient. It's time to make the doctor really see the sick patient.
When they say more money, more problems, I'm thinking I don't got an option. I'm working on facing my conscience. I'm taking no source with no loss. I'm finding some peace when the meds came. I'm finding some peace when the chairs came. I'm a provider, that's the best thing. I do it for y'all, that's on everything. Yeah, do it for y'all, that's on everything. I stay on my job, that's on everything. Give it to them hard, that's on everything. I stack all these rats, that's on everything. I puff on these packs, that's on everything. Ain't no going back, that's on everything. We all staying strapped, that's on everything.
DOSS Radio. DOSS Radio.
I'm a monster.
walking, stalking them all. A competitor, stalk predator, sharpen my paws. I'm involved, listen to relevant rappers to talk and speak upon. Money and women invented by pawns, no passion. Listen to the beat in their hearts, the currency running is a stomach, the reason they fall. I'm a god, listen to lyrics, I come on the cause, the fire response to a fast that exits my jaw. Into the dragon and the blessing, the English, the captures, the cynical fashion. Mobile rappers get put in the casket, closed. And my cracker comes a lyrical blasting, and I amped up, hands up, pointing and clapping. All you wearing ignorant pattern is making me fume. Conversations to end your dating to all of the news. Addiction like booze, all your animals follow these fools. Social media, Wikipedia, cyclists you. Thousands of clues, show you primitive spitting and such. Bag artists sounding retarded and rapping for bucks. I finish these bucks when I'm swinging these lyrics I clutch. Plucking these dust, watching fumbling, kicking the crutch. Expose these artists that are actually rapping for luck. They constantly suck and they breathing the pistols to bust. I'm running the rock, run with everyone thinking they're tough. In the end, I'ma show you what's up. In the minute, definite feelings are artists that hard. And the lyrics are coming quick with the knuckles of spar. I'ma kick in the doors, I'ma pick at your flaws. I'ma show you niggas depending on infinite bars. Spit it across, cause the biblical cost me a dog. And I witness the darkest carcass and spiritual balls. Sheep in the farm, all you people that thinking that you're better than not. The penitentiary are serving these bars in the block. The crook in the cops, or the label that's serving the slop. And your pigs roll around on the substance and swamp. Until they busting your chop, until you're punching the clock. Until your family members ready, you're searching to stop. Who the fuck did you tell you was hot? I'm the boss in the middle of it, grabbing the cross. Holocaust, you in the bottom of my shoe on a stomp. In a session, destruction presses will cause you to pop. Flash your face, I'ma show you the afterplace. The passive saints, or the demon that master hates. Aftertaste, it's nasty when you speak of my name. Foes seek medical attention when experiencing pain. Bones are playing, in the fire I'm burning the blade. This animal's broken teeth and then don't open his cage. Immaculate, coming back, I rattle the mini on top. My club, I'm the illest so the hating can stop.
This is the Revolutionary Album.